Welcome to the NatRefs Show, a fortnightly podcast on sustainable heating and cooling technologies brought to you by Shecco and supported by Teco. My name is Devin Yoshimoto, and I'll be hosting today's show from Shecco Japan's office here in Tokyo. I'm the writer and reporter for Shecco here in Asia Pacific, and I'm joined today by Marie Battesti and Charlotte McLaughlin, our multimedia reporter, and Marie from our market development team in the Brussels office. Good morning, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, so today we'll just be starting off with talking about our recent trip to Chillventa, one of the most important trade shows for the HVAC in our industry in Europe and really all around the world, with some of the latest technology being presented there. And from what I understand, this has been a really special show for Shecco and everyone concerned with natural refrigerant technology, because there were a lot of interesting developments at this show. Charlotte, could you tell us a little bit about that?
Thank you, Devin. So to start off with, I would say even before we went to Chillventa, we already saw online, looking at the different companies and everything, there was so many more than 2 years ago. So we were already very excited, and we mapped maybe close to nearly 300 companies using natural refrigerants, which is a substantial increase on, I think, the 185 from before. So already we could see that there was a big change. But when we were there, we actually think there was probably more than we mapped, because a lot of people were showing things that, were new or they weren't using before at the show. So I would say what the big trend or the big positive trend that I saw personally was that, generally you do see CO2 transcritical rack systems, and you definitely always see propane plug-in units and this type of thing, especially in commercial refrigeration. So already there, it feels like a kind of a done deal for natural refrigerants. But I thought the main positive thing was that HVAC had natural refrigerants as well. So big ammonia chillers, big propane chillers, and then for smaller applications as well, like small residential heat pumps, commercial heat pumps. So you can really see a big trend towards using natural refrigerants in the HVAC side, not just anymore in just refrigeration, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's interesting. So the application is spreading not just for refrigeration technology, but also for air conditioning and heating as well.
Yeah, for those types of applications as well. And I think mainly the big reason that this is happening is because this year in Europe was a big change in terms of HFC prices. So a lot of people at the show were just it's just become too expensive. It hasn't become affordable anymore because of the big phase down steps that happened in the EU. I don't know, maybe Marie can confirm how big the quota for F-gas went down this year.
Indeed, HFC quotas went down up to 37% as of 1st January 2018.
So yeah, basically the supply of HFCs has been restricted, and this has had a strong effect on prices. I think since the F-gas regulation was enacted, so they did a mapping by Eco Research, and the price is actually for some HFCs went up over the last few years by 1,000%. We're talking big numbers of HFCs, so of course this is having an effect on the industry. And I think a lot of people are, they've been through so many of these changes in refrigerants, and they've gone from CFCs to HCFCs and to HFCs. And now they have a choice between the naturals or HFOs on the other hand. And though there is some trend toward HFOs, at least the feedback that I've had is that people are looking for something where they don't have to change again. They don't have to make that investment again. They want something future-proof and long-term, and not something that, they're going to have a headache over in later years. So I think Chillventa was a very positive experience for natural refrigerants. Huge interest as well in Shecco. Our head of market development, Clara Skachanova, was also speaking during one session, and I would say like compared to, like I went to like a lot of the talks there, so they were generally not so full. Like, you know, people were wandering around the trade show, so they didn't have too much time, but hers was like full. Everybody was there. The whole thing was filled out. Like it's crazy, like the amount of interest people have in natural refrigerants, because they see them as something, you know, where they can make a business case long term, and have some security. At least that's the feedback that I found from the show floor.
And Clara was talking about global trends during
Yeah.
her presentations
Yeah,
for
she was
natural
talking about
refrigerants, and
global
that's why everybody
trends.
was.
For hydrocarbons and for CO2. Yeah, so it wasn't also including ammonia and stuff as well, but like I think ammonia is a traditional refrigerant that has been used for a long time. So, you know, some people tend to, like, occasionally people tend to ignore it, but also ammonia was huge at the show, especially in terms of heat pumps and chiller applications in HVAC, and also low charge ammonia. Louvet presented a new product for lowering the charge of ammonia. So this was a big concern also at the show.
Louvet does evaporative or evaporating evaporators. Is that?
Yeah, they do evaporators. So they have a special type of evaporator that means that you can use less charge because it's more efficient, and the materials used means you don't have to put in as much charge of ammonia to get the same result. And this allows you to reduce your charge substantially in ammonia refrigeration systems.
Yeah, you know, it's great. It's something we've talked about a lot on our websites and in our magazines, that this price increase is really driving a lot of the interest in naturals. And just, you know, one thing too is, right before you guys went to the show, we had a chance to talk to Panasonic's head here in Japan, and he was saying that was one of the main reasons they were so excited to exhibit at Chillventa, is because this price increase is driving interest in their natural refrigerant technology as well.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think, like, even last year, Panasonic has had a lot of success with their CO2 condensing units in Europe, especially as people, you know, they started with the bigger stores, moving towards natural refrigerants, and now supermarkets are looking at the smaller stores and different options for them, not just CO2, but also hydrocarbon water loop systems. A lot of people are, you know, like waiting for the charge limit to increase as well. So, you know, we'll see what will happen there.
Yeah, speaking of hydrocarbons and the charge limit, we all know that we've been watching for a long time, many years actually, I believe for more than 3-4 years, of this development of this global standard by the International Electrotechnical Commission, the IEC, to work on raising the charge limit for hydrocarbon use in commercial refrigeration, and really letting the technology grow and develop how it should be growing. And I understand there was a big meeting that was held recently, very recently actually. And Marie, could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so there was a meeting in South Korea, in Busan, where a draft hydrocarbons charge limit increase was accepted to go to final vote around the end of the year. And it was accepted by the IEC subcommittee in charge of this standard. So the question would be to increase the charge limit on A3, which is flammable refrigerants like propane in commercial refrigeration equipment, from 150 grams to 500 grams under the standard 6335-2-89, to be precise. So the IEC subcommittee SC61C analyzed comments received from national committees during the committee draft for vote stage into the new edition of this IEC standard. And this subcommittee decided that the charge limit draft should go to a final vote phase by the end of 2018. So it paves the way for the final document and standard to be prepared for the final vote. Assuming this vote is positive, the standard should be published in early 2019. Of course, the the battle is not over, and it's still very important for the natural refrigerants industry, and in particular the hydrocarbons industry, to go to their national committee expressing the opportunity that this charge increase would represent, and to push for a positive final vote for hydrocarbons. So it represents, like, this would represent the latest milestone in a lengthy standard process, as Devin said. And it's quite crucial as well for the hydrocarbons industry globally, because most regional and national standardization bodies, such as, for example, CE and Senelec in Europe, tend to look at what does IEC and harmonize their own standards accordingly. So basically, IEC could pave the way for an increase a charge increase worldwide. So experts as well, and it's worth noting, commonly accept that this currently 150 gram limit does not allow manufacturers or end users of HVAC and air equipment to fully exploit the safe application of hydrocarbon refrigerants in the commercial refrigeration sector. Therefore, such a move could open up lots of market opportunities for hydrocarbons. So we'll keep you updated.
Yeah, definitely. I would just add to that, like, in terms of technology, what people are doing at the moment to have bigger display cases is having multi-circuit systems with individual compressors. And of course, if you have to put 4 compressors into a big display case instead of 1, this is going to be expensive for you as a manufacturer of these systems. It's going to create an extra cost. The end user is probably going to look at and go, yeah, that's going to be more expensive than another system. Maybe I don't opt for this technology in the end. So I don't think it makes any sense. The IC working group who first proposed the revising of the standard, they did huge amounts of testing of flammability, safety and stuff. So it's not like they haven't tested these systems to make sure this is the safest possible limit of different things that they need to put into the system. Like, it's going to be the safest possible. It's just that these standards are old, and they came around at the time when HFCs were being used. So it's, it will have a big change on the industry, and I think in the end, especially for small stores, we're going to see more and more battle between hydrocarbons and CO2.
Yes, and if I could just add, shecco, the publisher of this podcast, is also collaborating with the European Union for a project called LIFE, with kind of a similar aim, because the project is about gathering experts and industry representatives to work on guidelines for safe use of hydrocarbons and test higher charges and see if it's possible within the safest environment possible to increase this charge. And the idea is to feed as well the revision process of European standards for hydrocarbons, and even the European Commission requested a standard on its own for hydrocarbons, and therefore the studies are developed under the LifeRound project could help revising as well the standards while keeping safe. So it's a very lengthy process and project as well, which highlights the fact that obviously the European Union is committed to keep high security standards, but also admits that the current charge limit for hydrocarbons is restrictive, and you can't fully exploit the potential of hydrocarbons environmentally speaking, as well as in terms of efficiency and applications. So there's movement a bit everywhere.
Yeah, and that's sort of the whole point of this whole process, and why it's taken so long is one of the main concerns is safety. But they've taken comments, they've done reviews, and they're making sure that this technology is implemented in a safe way with smart standards that are not unnecessarily restrictive and not making it unnecessarily expensive for the market to adopt, especially when energy efficiency is on the line, and we can reduce a lot of carbon emissions by using more energy efficient technology with hydrocarbons. So
exactly.
We're really looking forward to the next step in this process and how it turns out. So please keep us updated. Can you tell us where can we go to learn more about coverage for Chillventa coming from our team, and also coverage of the hydrocarbon standard?
I think if you just pay attention to r744.com, hydrocarbons21.com, and ammonia21.com, we publish our latest updates there. So, our Chillventa coverage is coming. It's just, of course, we can only publish so much at one time. So there's big news coming. You just pay attention to the websites.
Great. And we have newsletters also that come out all the time. So, make sure to pay attention to the websites and subscribe to our newsletters to get more information on this. That's all for this week. Thanks a lot, Marie and Charlotte. Stay tuned for the next episode of the NatRefs show. First of all, though, just a quick word from our sponsor, Teco.
Hi, my name is Andreas Meyer. I'm Managing Director of Teco. What is Teco? Teco is a rack manufacturer based in Germany, near Frankfurt area, and we are now over 36 years in the market, manufacturing racks. At the moment, the business is quite challenging because there's a lot of movement going into the direction of net refrigerants. So we are ready and prepared. We did our first CO2 transcritical rack in 2006, and nowadays it's getting more or less a commodity in Europe. But actually we are now here in Asia. So we just want to start up Asia. 2 years ago we founded a company in Singapore called Teco Asia, and now since 2 months we started our production facility in Bangkok in Thailand to cover also the Asian market, because we believe in that Asia is an upcoming near future, very important for us as a rack builder. For net refrigerants, at the moment it's still Freon, but I think the change will be soon and will be fast.
Thank you, Andreas. See you in 2 weeks' time for another great episode of the NatRefs show.